After 5 minutes, Billionaire discovers incredible story behind Black Candy Girl's Bruise. In a bustling corner of the city, the warm glow of Carter took a deep breath, the candy shop's sweet scent mingling with a rising sense of determination. Mia looked at him with those bright eyes, sparkling with hope yet heavy with the burdens she carried. She was waiting for him to respond, for him to step forward. The weight of her story pressed on his conscience like a long-forgotten secret. "I want to help you," he said suddenly, his voice stronger than he felt. "No, I need to help you." The sincerity in his words hung in the air, igniting a flicker of hope in Mia's gaze. Her brow furrowed, uncertain. "But how? What can you do?" "You don't understand," she trailed off, her confidence wavering. "I might not know exactly what you've been through, but I can try to learn," he replied, his heart hammering. "What if I organized something? Maybe a fundraiser or a community event? We could bring the neighborhood together, help raise some money for your mom's health." For you. Mia's eyes widened, a mixture of disbelief and relief washing over her. "You would do that for me?" She could hardly grasp the enormity of what he was suggesting. Her little world had always been so impossibly small, filled with shadows that had made every effort feel insurmountable. "Absolutely," he insisted. "You're not alone in this. Let us show everyone what you're capable of. Your candies. They have the power to pull people together. You create joy, let us share it beyond this shop." A sense of warmth spread through her, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't simply wishful thinking. The notion of fighting back against the weight of isolation, the bruises that marked her existence, started to feel like a rallying cry instead of an anchor dragging her down. Mia nodded, biting her lip, battling hope and fear in equal measure. The next day, they got to work. Carter rallied support from local businesses, securing donations for silent auctions and food stands. Mia was swept up in the excitement, her laughter filling the shop during planning sessions filled with colorful markers and vibrant poster boards. Each letter she colored and felt like a step towards claiming her voice. The event in vision became louder, brighter. The community was buzzing with anticipation. But there, lurking beneath all this newfound energy, was Mia's old friend Doubt. As the day of the event approached, the familiar feeling crept back in like a shadow. What if nobody showed up? What if the bullies found her and made the day a nightmare? Deep in her heart, fear clawed at her, threatening to undo all the progress they had made. On the day of the event, excitement buzzed in the air, but so did anxiety. The town square was decorated with colorful streamers and the scent of freshly made popcorn wafted through the crowd. Mia stood behind her booth, heart pounding, taking in the sea of faces. Friends, neighbors, even some of the bullies showed up, curiosity sparking in their eyes. Then, as she looked closer, she noticed something remarkable. People were smiling, genuinely smiling. Their laughter rang in a chorus unlike any she'd ever heard, drowning out the whispers of negativity. Just as she pulled herself back from the edge of doubt, there he was, Carter, raising a glass of sparkling lemonade in her direction, urging everyone to celebrate. But amid the joy, a chilling thought flashed in her mind. What if this moment, this magic, was fleeting? Would she finally feel like she belonged? What if she was forced to face her fears again? Just as she contemplated the weight of that idea, a familiar face appeared in the crowd. Mia's heart dropped as she recognized the bully who had tormented her for years. Would it shatter her newfound confidence? Mia's heart raced as her eyes locked onto the looming figure wading through the crowd. Jake, the ringleader of her tormentors, was there without warning. His presence cut through the warmth of the day like a knife. Memories of whispered taunts, mocking laughter, and unbearable isolation surged back, flooding her mind with fear. The laughter around her dulled, shadows creeping back into the edges of her joy. She wanted to shrink away, to hide behind the colorful booth filled with her candies, but she forced herself to remain rooted to the spot. Carter was right there beside her, his eyes catching hers with a reassuring squeeze of her hand, grounding her in that moment. Mia. Look at this place. This is amazing. Carter's excitement was palpable, but it didn't quite reach her as he gestured to the vibrant buzz surrounding them. He seemed blissfully unaware of Jake's presence, though Mia knew that was impossible. "What do you think he wants?" she whispered, anxiety bubbling within her. Carter glanced where she was staring, his expression shifting from joy to something more protective. "Whatever it is, don't let him bring you down. Remember what we talked about. You're stronger than he thinks." As if sensing his defiance, Jake edged closer, a smirk playing on his lips. "Wow, look at you, Mia. Living the dream, huh?" His voice dripped with sarcasm, a caustic reminder of her past. "You think a few candies in a booth can change who you are?" Mia held her breath, fire igniting in her chest. This was the moment she had dreaded the confrontation. Yet, she felt Carter's grip steadying her. "You're here, Mia. Own your space," he whispered just loud enough for her to hear, instilling a flicker of courage. Instead of shrinking away, Mia squared her shoulders, refusing to let him steal her moment. "You don't know anything about me, Jake," she said, her voice a thread of defiance. "I'm not hiding anymore." The crowd around her had started to notice, whispers flickered through the air. It was as if her declaration had sparked something in her neighbors, their eyes lingering on the confrontation. The laughter had faded, replaced by an electric tension that hummed between them. "Wow, brave words for a girl who's always candying away her problems, huh?" He taunted louder, seeking to drag her back down. But that just fueled her resolve. "And yet here I am, and you're just here. Picking fights because the only attention you know is negative," she snapped back, her confidence growing with every syllable. "Mia?" Carter called softly, almost a question, like he was surprised by the fire that rose inside her. "Yeah," she replied, a spark of excitement playing in her tone. "Keep going. Show everyone how powerful you really are." Turning back towards Jake, she steeled herself. "You think you can dismantle what we've built here? Community, joy, hope. You're wrong. I'm not a victim anymore, and you can't touch this." An unexpected hush fell over the crowd as the onlookers absorbed her words. Everyone seemed to be caught in the moment between courage and fear, a moment where Mia stepped into her own strength, however small it felt. Then, from the back of the gathering, someone broke the silence. "Yeah, Mia. You tell him." A voice chimed out, igniting a ripple of supportive cheers. Her heart swelled. But Jake only sneered, clearly unprepared for the pushback. "Enjoy your little moment, Mia. It won't last." He turned on his heel, retreating into the mass of people, his shadow fading as quickly as it had appeared. The crowd erupted into applause, and Mia stood, stunned but soaring, feeling lighter than air. The warmth and cheers pulsed around her, knitting encouragement into her heart. Yet, even as she celebrated this victory, this crucial moment of reclaiming her narrative, a shadow loomed in her mind. Was this really it? Could she truly leave those old fears behind? As the event continued on, adrenaline coursing through her veins, she felt both empowered and uncertain. Unraveling layers of confidence was one thing, but trusting it to stay woven was another. Just then, she caught a glimpse of Carter from the corner of her eye, raising another toast to her. His joy radiated like sunlight, illuminating her doubts. But beneath it all, the thought lingered: what if this wasn't the end of her battles? What if Jake returned, or worse, what if others just like him showed up? The sound of cheers became a distant hum as she pondered the road ahead. How would she protect her newfound hope? Just then, she realized those familiar doubts weren't finished with her yet. The day had been a triumph, but there were still deeper struggles to face. As the applause faded, the question hung heavy in her heart: what if being brave was just the first step? Mia stood amidst the uproar, the cheers like a soft sea breeze wrapping around her. If only they could wash away the lingering uncertainty inside her. The moment with Jake had stirred something in her, a resolve that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Her heart was still racing, but the doubts in the pit of her stomach churned, threatening to overpower the bliss of her small victory. "Hey," Carter said, his voice a warm anchor. He reached to tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "You did amazing. I'm so proud of you." His eyes sparkled, and for a brief second, her fears dimmed under the glow of his support. "Thanks," she replied, her voice a little shaky. "But I'm still worried. What if he comes back? What if he brings more people?" Carter's smile softened as he nodded, understanding the turmoil behind her bravado. "If he shows up again, you'll stand strong. Just like you did today. You've got an entire community here now." He gestured to the crowd, which continued to celebrate her moment. They won. He let him back in. Mia wanted to believe him. The claps and cheers continued, each sound a balm to her soul, but deep inside her mind, the whispers of doubt just wouldn't settle. The candy booth, their sanctuary, felt less like a fortress and more like a target in that instant. Just then, she remembered the words Jake had thrown at her, "It won't last." Were they just taunts? Or was there a part of him that knew her fears more intimately than she realized? Suddenly, a figure stepped into the light of her booth, causing Mia to gasp. One of her regular customers, Elsie, a young girl with bright pigtails and a mischievous smile, looked up at her, eyes wide with excitement. "Mia. Can I have a candy, please?" In that moment, the innocence in Elsie's eyes scattered her worries like confetti in the wind. "Of course. What would you like?" Mia asked, her tone brightening significantly as she leaned over her booth, feeling the warm pull of connection. Carter grinned at the interaction, and for a blink, they were just two friends sharing simple joys. As Mia handed an assortment of colorful candies to Elsie, she felt a thread of hope stitching itself into the fabric of her resolve. Maybe this was part of her strength, creating joy, making connections, leaning on the support of those around her. "Thanks," Elsie squeaked, dancing back into the crowd, and Mia allowed herself a broad smile, letting the moment wash over her. But as quickly as it came, doubt began to creep back in. The laughter around her, the clamor of the fair, could it all truly shelter her from what lurked in the shadows? "Hey, let's take a walk," Carter suggested, his voice breaking through her inner turmoil. "We could get something to eat. It'll lighten the mood." The thought was tempting, but hesitation rooted her in place. What if more people like Jake want to spoil this day for us? He gently nudged her shoulder. "We'll face them together. I promise." His sincerity hit her like an unexpected wave, pushing back against that creeping fear. "Okay, let's go," she finally agreed, allowing him to lead her away from the booth and into the vibrant crowd, surrounded by happy chatter and laughter. As they strolled together, Mia took in the kaleidoscope of colors around her, the flashing lights of rides, the aroma of food wafting through the air, the sound of children squealing in delight. Each moment of normalcy felt like a step towards reclaiming the joy Jake had tried to steal. But just as she began to feel the weight of her concerns lift, a chilling reminder of her reality slipped back into her thoughts. A voice rang out, harsh and familiar, slicing through the cheerful noise. Well, if it isn't the candy girl still hiding behind your booth?" Mia froze, blood running cold as she recognized that sneering tone. Jake had returned, and this time, it felt as if the crowd parted to make way for him, a gaping wound of tension ready to spill. Mia squeezed Carter's hand. She could feel the electric air around them, the eyes of the crowd watching them intently, just waiting to see how this would unfold. The cheers from earlier felt like a million miles away. The moment of truth had come again. Would it last? Or was this where she found herself once again on shaky ground? "Mia, stay strong," Carter whispered, his grip tightening, but the question lingered in her heart. Was she really ready for round two? Mia's breath hitched. The sound of Jake's voice reverberated off the colorful booths and vibrant lights, cutting through the air like an unwelcome knife. Every ounce of her previous confidence seemed to disintegrate in that moment, replaced by a sharp pang of fear. She could feel the stares of the crowd, their eyes wide, their hushed whispers, a collective breath held, waiting to see what would unfold. "Leave us alone, Jake," Carter said, his voice edging between calm and heated. The protective surge in his tone made Mia's heart flutter, but it also raised the stakes. Did she really have the strength to stand her ground? Jake strolled closer, his swagger a stark contrast to the festival atmosphere. "You think everyone is going to rally around you forever, Candy Girl?" He smirked, tilting his head mockingly. "You're just a distraction. A phase." Mia felt as though he was peeling back layers of her resolve, exposing her vulnerabilities. "You don't know anything about me," she shot back, surprising herself. The words tasted sharp on her tongue. "Oh, but I do." Jake's gaze flicked to Carter, then back to Mia. "You're just playing dress-up in this little fairy tale. Spoiler alert, dragons don't just vanish when you wave a magic wand." The laughter that followed felt like a chilling breeze, crawling up her spine. She looked around at the spectators, their expressions varying from intrigue to concern. It was suffocating, yet invigorating. Did they see her as the hero or the fool in this tangled story? "Mia," Carter said, his voice low but firm, "focus on what you feel." He leaned in closer, his warmth brushing against her arm, the familiar scent of cinnamon candy surrounding him. "You're not alone. You have the people who care about you." In that moment, memories flooded Mia's mind, the laughter of her friends at the candy booth, the joy of sharing sweet treats with little ones like Elsie, and the sense of community they built together. The foundation of those connections flickered brightly in her heart, pushing back against the shadows that Jake cast. "Why do you care so much?" she challenged, her voice steadier now. "What's your endgame, Jake? Do you want to destroy something beautiful just because it scares you?" His grin faltered, just for a heartbeat. Mia seized the moment, feeling the strength of countless eyes around her, bolstered by their silent support. "You're looking for someone to tear down. But maybe I'm not the one who needs to be broken." The crowd shifted, she could feel the energy in the air change like a current. People murmured, exchanging glances, reassessing the scene unfolding before them. "You think you can talk tough to me?" He scoffed, though the bravado in his voice felt less certain. "You don't belong here." But Mia didn't back down this time. "You're wrong, Jake. I do belong here with my friends, my community. And I'll fight for what I have. Not just to protect myself, but for everyone who feels small." Carter squeezed her hand tighter, and she felt courage envelop her like a warm hug. This wasn't just her battle anymore. The weight of every person watching, of every friendship forged in kindness, pressed against her back like a shield. With one last glance at Carter, Mia took a step forward, feeling the solid ground beneath her feet. "Leave us alone," she declared, her voice ringing out with newfound conviction. The moment hung suspended, expectation crackling in the air. Jake's face darkened, his expression a cocktail of anger and disbelief, swirling like a storm. As he opened his mouth, the crowd murmured, tension thickening with questions. Would he retaliate? Would he walk away? "Mia, we can leave if you want," Carter said, his voice gentle. But Mia shook her head, resolve blooming within her. "No. I want to stay. I want to stand my ground." And just as those words left her lips, the sound of sirens echoed in the distance, an unexpected thunderstorm in the whimsical setting of the fair. Everyone turned in disarray, a curtain of panic falling over the crowd as curiosity turned to worry. "What now?" Mia whispered, eyes darting to Carter's. The answer hovered in the air, sharp and inviting, begging to be unraveled. The unforeseen twist had descended upon them, weaving an even thicker thread of suspense through a day meant to be filled with joy. The glittering lights suddenly felt distant. The battle with Jake may just have been the beginning. What awaited them next? Would they emerge unscathed, or would they find themselves swept up in a bigger whirlwind they never anticipated? Mia's heart raced, her mind a storm of thoughts. The blaring sirens sliced through the air, a stark reminder that trouble was never far behind. The crowd's energy shifted, buzzing with a nervous apprehension as parents gathered their children close and festival-goers shared puzzled glances. What was that about? Carter asked, his eyes scanning the fading carnival lights. The question hung there, heavy with uncertainty. Mia opened her mouth to respond, but Jake's smirk returned, a flickering spark of defiance in his gaze. Looks like your little fairy tale is about to get a reality check, he sneered, backing away just enough to let the chaos unfold. Sirens grew louder, echoing around them like a warning bell. Mia felt a jolt of panic. Was something wrong? Did someone get hurt? The thought alone sent chills through her. Mia, stay close, Carter urged, gripping her hand tighter, anchoring her in the whirlwind of commotion. She nodded, though her mind was racing ahead, wondering how this calamity would turn the day upside down. As the flashing lights of emergency vehicles pierced through the festival's colorful tapestry, Mia took a deep breath. We can't let him ruin everything, she whispered to Carter, determination stark in her eyes. This is our moment to stand together. Right, he replied, his expression a mix of admiration and intensity. We can handle this. They moved through the crowd, weaving in and out of various groups that were now bubbling with speculation. Some were already calling friends or family, their voices rising above the sound of sirens. Mia's heart pounded, but with every step, the echo of courage surged within her. Maybe this is good, she said, glancing back at Jake, whose demeanor was unsteady. If the focus shifts, maybe he'll back off. But Jake only stepped closer, his smug alter ego peeling away. You really think they care about you? You think they see you? I think they see us, Mia replied, lifting her chin defiantly. And that's what makes us strong. Jake's expression twisted, anger flaring in his eyes. And then, something shifted in the crowd ahead. People began moving aside, parting like a sea as two uniformed officers stepped in, radiating authority amidst the chaos. Mia. Carter. The voice cut through the noise, and Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her. It was Elsie, her little friend from the candy booth, darting through the crowd with an outstretched hand. What's happening? Are you okay? Yeah, we're fine. Carter called back, his voice steady as he moved to protect Mia from the surge of anxious onlookers. But then a new figure emerged from the flurry, a tall man in a tailored suit, his face briefly illuminated by the strobes of police lights. He moved with purpose, glancing around as if searching for something or someone. Mia's heart quickened again as she noticed his piercing gaze land on her. Wait, the man said, suddenly striding over, determination written all over his features. I need to talk to you. Mia's stomach dropped as he approached. There was something captivating about him, a sharpness in his eyes that called to her curiosity while setting off alarm bells in her gut. What do you want? She asked, unable to mask her wariness. Your story. I've heard snippets, but I think it's deeper than you realize, he replied, a slight urgency in his voice. Mia glanced at Carter, wondering if they should simply retreat. But the flicker of intrigue sparking in her mind was hard to ignore. It was then she caught Jake's expression, part envy, part disbelief. Was this man really interested in her? And why now? Mia, Carter said quietly, tilting his head toward Jake, who was drawing closer again. What do we do? The chaos swirled around them, tension thick in the air. And amid it all, the first glimmers of possibility began to shine. But as the suited stranger opened his mouth to continue, a sudden shout cut through the air, sending a jolt through the crowd. Hey! What is going on over there? Mia turned, her heart racing, realizing the future she thought might be opening up was about to be snatched away once more. Would she find the strength to confront whatever was waiting at the center of this impending storm? What would happen next, and would she ever seize this moment meant for her? The answers loomed just beyond her grasp. Mia felt a shiver run down her spine as the crowd's energy shifted yet again, a new wave of whispers cascading over them. The suited man's brows furrowed as he turned to face the commotion. "Stay close," he said, glancing back at Mia with an intensity that held her captive. Just then, the crowd thickened, and the voice shouting from behind reverberated again, more insistent this time. "Everyone, please. Step back. We need space." Panic spilled into the air, dulling the vibrant lights of the festival as more sirens wailed in the distance. The man in the suit took a step towards the source of the disruption, his sharp figure slicing through the throng of festival-goers like a knife. "Mia." Carter's grip on her arm was reassuring, yet the uncertainty in his expression echoed her own fears. "What do we do?" Mia's heart raced. Part of her yearned to shrink away from this chaos, to blend back into the comforting colors of the carnival and forget about everything that loomed ahead. But another part of her stronger, braver felt the pull of mystery and the chance to reclaim her own narrative. "We need to hear what is going on," she answered, voice steady, as she took a step toward the stranger. "I don't want to run away anymore." Carter opened his mouth to protest but hesitated, seeing the resolve in her eyes. "Okay," he murmured, finally following her lead. They moved closer, elbowing their way toward the front, ignoring the startled gasps and concerned murmurs from everyone around them. What unfolded was a tapestry of unease. Two officers now stood over a fallen teenage boy, trembling under the harsh glow of the lights. Mia could see the bruises on his arms and the shock in his eyes, mirroring her own feelings. Anxiety ricocheted through the crowd. Suddenly, the suited man turned back to Mia, drawing her attention away from the scene. "I don't want to disrupt what is happening, but there is something at play here. Something big. And you're right in the middle of it." Mia's curiosity piqued, but confusion twisted through her. "What do you mean?" He took a breath, searching her face as if trying to find the right words. "Your story, Mia. It's a thread that's entangled in something much larger. And I think it could make a difference." It was a heavy statement, as though he was handing her a key to a door she'd never thought existed. Her pulse quickened. "Why me?" She blurted out, eyes darting to Carter, who watched with bated breath. "Because some stories deserve to be told, and yours could help others. You just have to be brave enough to share it." Before she could respond, a commotion erupted in the crowd. Someone elbowed past her, shouting about a fight breaking out further down the pathway. The commotion split the attention of the officers, and just like that, the moment teetered on the edge of chaos. "Wait!" Mia shouted, but reality was already closing in around her. Jake's laughter echoed in the distance, worming its way into her mind as she saw him slip back into the shadows, thrill-seeking in the darkness. "Mia, we should go," Carter urged, looking back at her with worry. The energy of the crowd was shifting again, fear and frustration spreading like wildfire. "Just a second," she said, eyes locking on the suited man, who was watching her intently. He stepped closer, almost bridging the gap between their worlds, urgency swirling in his eyes. But another voice cut through the air, louder this time. "I've got it. I know what needs to be done." Mia didn't know whether to turn back or test the unknown before her. Would she confront the chaos or grasp the fading chance for her truth to come to light? The tension tangled in the air, and all she could do was wonder what would come next. Would she be brave enough to uncover her own story when the stakes had never felt higher? The crowd churned, shifting like restless water, and Mia could hardly breathe beneath the weight of all that was happening around her. She glanced between Carter's worried eyes and the suited man's determined gaze, feeling as if the very air had condensed around them, crackling with anticipation. What needs to be done? Mia found herself asking the newcomer, the fire of urgency blaring in her voice. The chatter dimmed momentarily as everyone's attention fell on him, a captivated audience hanging on his every word. His jaw clenched slightly, and his posture shifted, confidence radiating from him. "There's a risk of fear that everyone feels but no one can see. We can't let fear dictate what happens next." Carter squeezed her arm again. "Mia, I don't know if we should be here. This feels serious." But something deep within Mia stirred, overwhelming her with a sense of purpose. I know we shouldn't run. Not now. She turned back to the suited man, and the fight that echoed from the crowd faded into a dull murmur. Tell me what this is about. Tell me how I can help. His eyes seemed to light up with approval, a flicker of respect shining through the panic that was gripping them all. In moments like this, it's callous stories that compel people to act. Your story, Mia, it could resonate. It can break through the noise. What do you mean? Mia's voice trembled, a blend of confusion and fascination bubbling forth. Look around, he urged, extending his arm to the sights of chaos swirling about the officers trying to contain the growing disorder, the fearful faces of festival-goers, caught between excitement and dread. Everyone here has a story. But often, it's the unspoken that gets ignored, the bruises, the chaos, the pain. And your story aligns with theirs. She felt a flutter of uncertainty. What are you saying? That I should share my pain? The thought twisted inside her, heavy and uncomfortable. Sharing herself felt daunting, yet revealing. Exactly that, he said firmly, his voice steady. Your truth has power. It can inspire others, bring them hope. You might be surprised how healing it can be for you and for them. Just then, a loud crash vibrated through the air. Someone in the crowd had toppled a table, spilling drinks everywhere. Gasps echoed through the assembly, and people stepped back, creating a small bubble of space. Amid the confusion, moments of realization flickered through the crowd as some began to flee while others stayed rooted in place, caught like Mia, teetering between curiosity and fear. Mia! Carter shouted, pulling her gently. This is getting dangerous. Please, let us go. But the suited man wouldn't let her go that easily. There's a strength inside you. Don't let fear steal your ability to share. This moment it's already transforming. Mia steadied herself, adrenaline coursing. Before she could finish, a whistle cut through the din of voices. Everyone! I need your attention here now. A nearby officer stood tall, trying to assert control over the mayhem. Mia saw the uncertainty swirling in his eyes, a mirror of her own struggle. Mia, the suited man urged, his voice barely breaking through the mounting chaos. Will you speak? Heart racing, she sensed the weight of the moment, the chance to act. Perhaps it was time to shine a light on her own dark corners. Whatever happened next, she sensed this was her turning point. With a deep breath, she leaned in closer. Okay, I'll do it. But I need you next to me. The suited man's expression softened. I'll be right here. As she stepped forward, the crowd's focus shifted, and a palpable tension filled the air. Would she find her voice, her truth amid the tumult? Then, from the far end, a piercing scream broke loose, and Mia spun towards the sound, her heart pounding. What in the world was happening now? Mia's heart raced. The scream echoed through her mind, sending waves of ice-cold fear down her spine. She turned, just in time to see a young girl, no older than 8, clutching her arm, tears streaming down her face. The crowd gasped collectively, the sound rising like a tide, underscoring the moment. Mia! The suited man's voice pulled her back, urgency tingling in the air around them. Focus. This isn't just about you. It's about everyone here. That girl, she needs someone to help her feel safe. Carter shifted nervously beside her, glancing at the girl and then back at Mia. This isn't a good idea, he murmured, an insistence lacing his voice. What if it gets worse? Mia sensed the weight of his fear, but something within her ignited. If fear was what gripped the crowd, then perhaps it was the light of some shared humanity that could break through. I can't just stand here, Carter, she whispered, her voice trembling but determined. If I can help, I have to try. She stepped forward, her legs trembling ever so slightly, yet she reminded herself of the responsibility she felt bubbling in her chest. With each stride, the crowd seemed to part before her, and she reached the girl just as another officer rushed in to assist. "Hey there, sweetheart," Mia crouched down, meeting the girl's wide, frightened eyes. "What happened?" The girl sniffled, her little hand trembling as she gestured toward the chaos. They knocked over the table. "I just wanted a candy, and then I got scared." Her voice was soft, filled with the innocence of youth tangled with sudden anxiety. Mia's heart ached for her. She reached out, placing her hand gently on the girl's shoulder. "It's okay. You're safe now. Look at me." She locked eyes with the child, channeling all the compassion she could muster. "You have every right to be scared. But you're not alone. We can find your family together, okay?" The girl nodded hesitantly, and for a brief moment, the chaos around them faded. It was just the two of them, standing firm against the tide of fear swelling in the festival. Meanwhile, the suited man stood behind them, watching with pride. "You're doing it, Mia," he said softly. "This is where real change begins." As steps were taken to calm the crowd, Mia turned to the officer who had approached. "Let us find her family. We don't want her to feel lost in all this," she said, her voice stronger now. "Right." The officer replied, visibly grateful. "Good call. Stay with her." But then, from deep within the crowd, another yell erupted. "Get out of the way." A larger man bulldozed through, his face etched with anger, sending people scattering. Mia's stomach dropped. The momentary peace shifted into disarray as screams rang out again, echoing through her veins. "Mia!" Carter shouted, the panic rising in his tone. "We need to leave now." But Mia's gaze returned to the girl who looked up at her, wide-eyed and alone. "No, I can't leave her." The words came out before she even realized it. The suited man stepped closer, his expression fierce with determination. "You're doing the right thing. But we must keep everyone safe, even more so with this man." A sudden surge of adrenaline shot through Mia. This wasn't merely about fear anymore, it was about courage, standing up for what was right, and leading by example. Mia felt the girl's small hand fold into hers, grounding her amid the uncertainty. "Stay close to me," she whispered softly. As the shout of "everyone back" rang out again, Mia's heart sank, knowing they were spiraling deeper into chaos. But right then, in the center of the storm, her pulse quickened with purpose. She was going to find her voice. But what if that voice meant taking one more risk she wasn't ready for? The chaos kept rising, and she knew they had to do something before those screams turned into shadows pouring darkness over them all. "Mia," the suited man urged again, "are you ready to face the flood?" As she stood with the girl, Mia took a shaky breath, feeling the weight of the future hanging in the balance. What awaited them in the floodwaters of this moment? The moment felt ripe. With transformation, but also brimming with danger, and she could hardly see what lay ahead. Mia's breath quickened, and the world around her felt like it spun out of control. But as she clutched the girl's hand tighter, something clicked deep within her. Fear could either hold her back or propel her forward, and this was the moment to choose. "Mia!" Carter shouted again, his voice threading through the chaos, urging her to consider the danger. "We need to move. Now." But there was no turning back. With a determined spark igniting her spirit, Mia shook her head. "No. I have to stay for her." The suited man nodded, his expression filled with respect. "You're stronger than you know. When fear rises, bravery has to speak louder." Mia turned her focus back to the girl, kneeling down so they were eye to eye. "Listen to me. You're not alone. Stay close, we're going to get through this together." The little girl nodded, her trembling subsiding under Mia's unwavering strength. Suddenly, the crowd thickened as the angry man pushed further in. The tension cracked like a whip, snapping the fragile sense of safety they had quelled. "Out of my way!" he shouted, his fury palpable and blinding like a hot flame. "Mia!" Carter edged toward them, panic rising in his voice. "We have to get back." But before she could reply, the suited man stepped forward, imposing yet calm. "Everyone, we need to create a barrier. Keep the children safe." His voice boomed, cutting through the fear and drawing attention like a lighthouse in the fog. People around them began to form a protective circle, inching in closer to Mia and the girl, closing ranks. This moment felt monumental. It wasn't just her standing up anymore. It was the entire community rallying behind her, each heart beating as one. "Mia," Carter pleaded again, urgency building in his tone. "We have to back away." "No. We can't leave her." Mia insisted, defiantly shaking her head again. Carter's face was a storm of emotion, fear and admiration battling within him. "Okay, but we need to be ready to run. I'll protect you both." Just then, the man shouted again, his voice rising over the buzzing chaos. "Aren't you just candy makers? How are you supposed to stop me?" He advanced, fueled by anger. But Mia pressed her lips together, finding her voice as she stepped in front of the girl protectively. "I'm more than just a candy girl, and I will not let you hurt anyone here. You're wrong if you think it's just about me." The words rippled through the crowd. A stunned silence enveloped them, before a wave of murmurs rippled through, building on her declaration. It was as if she'd thrown a stone into the water, causing rings of courage to expand outward. And in that moment, something shifted inside her, a blossoming confidence rooted in the support of her community. "You think your anger gives you power?" she continued, voice growing in strength, fueled by the energy around her. "But love is stronger. So is kindness. And that's what these people stand for." The angry man faltered, his bravado cracking slightly as confusion painted his face like a splash of bright color on a canvas of gray. "Mia!" Carter called, and she saw him step forward, his expression intense yet gentle. "This is your moment. Don't let fear define it." Suddenly, the beat of applause erupted, starting from the back of the crowd and growing louder, cascading through the masses. Mia's heart surged, the recognition, the support, it was filling her to the brim like the sweets she so cherished. With renewed strength, Mia spoke to the girl beside her. "We're not just here to take candy, we're here to give love and hope. It's a reminder that we stand together, hand in hand, not just against one bully but against any darkness trying to smother our light." Cheers began to build around them, a collective voice standing tall against the storm. The angry man's confidence relied on intimidation, and as they showed their solidarity, his facade began to crack. The crowd surged forward more resolutely, surrounding Mia, the girl, and Carter, all locked in as one. "Mia!" someone shouted from beneath the throng, a neighbor stepping forward. "Keep going. You're the voice we need." The cries pushed through the air with warmth, electrifying the atmosphere as Mia continued, emboldened by the unwavering support enveloping her. "We're resilient, and together we can overcome the hurdles thrown in our way. We don't need to hide." A strange transformation dusted the atmosphere. The angry man, now visibly rattled, began to retreat, his bravado dwindling in the face of collective resolve. "Get back!" he shouted, the venom in his voice faltering. But it was too late. Mia had stepped into her power, and it was intoxicating. It felt like liberation, like breaking chains that had wrapped around her heart. The crowd echoed her spirit, heartbeats synchronized in defiance. And just then, the chaos around them started to melt away, drowned by the thundering applause of solidarity, filling the air with hope. The suited man stood steadfast next to Mia, pride shining in his eyes. "Now, this is what I mean," he whispered, quietly affirming her resilience. And in that moment, Mia understood. Overcoming fear wasn't just about screaming as loud as possible, it was about finding her voice to draw people together, to rise collectively above the storm. As the shouting grew weaker, a calm descended, cradled in the warmth of community. They had defeated darkness not through vengeance, but through love, courage, and understanding. Carter clasped her hand firmly. She wasn't alone anymore. Together, they had changed the narrative. The bruises that had once weighed heavy felt lighter now, lost beneath the power of companionship. As the crowd started to disperse, smiles broke across faces, and a palpable relief washed over Mia. She had found her place not just in the candy shop, but in the hearts of those who stood beside her. "Mia, you were incredible," Carter said, admiration lacing his voice as he looked down at her. "You've changed everything." Mia smiled back, chest swelling with newfound joy. "We did this together. I'm not just the candy girl, I'm so much more." And so, they gathered the remnants of the day, filled with laughter, hope, and an excited buzz of thoughts, a reminder of solidarity that could persist against any storm. Finally, Mia felt like she belonged. Now, as she turned to look at the shimmering lights of the festival, she knew she would continue sharing her story, spreading joy through her creations. Every candy she made would carry more than sweetness, it would carry her journey, a journey of strength, unity, and transformation. With that thought, they left the chaos behind, ready to embrace whatever came next with open hearts, knowing they would stand together. Don't wait not even one more second. If you want more inspiring stories like this, you need to subscribe now to our channel. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support us. Comment below your feelings about this incredible ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who could use a boost of hope and empowerment. Together, let us spread the love.